to advanced dinking techniques. It's still, all the basics are the same. I'm still gonna be wanting to lean in at the kitchen line here. I'm in my athletic stance. I've got my paddle up here in my ready position, and I'm always gonna try to hit dinks out of the air if I can to steal time away from my opponents. But as far as how do I get to a spot where I have the advantage in a dink rally, well, a lot of times that's involves generating what we call a dead dink or a pop-up or a miss. And so if obviously a miss, we're gonna win the points, but if we get a pop-up or a pop-up that we're able to attack, that's a great situation for us. And if we get a dead dink, that's also a good situation for us. Okay, so when I'm sitting here dinking with my hitting partners, Bethany and Scott, I'm gonna try to put the ball in a spot where they're gonna pop it up. And oftentimes that just involves moving the ball around a lot. So I usually try not to target the same spot any more than 2 times in a row, because if you start going to a spot too consistently, if your opponents are good enough, they're gonna start cheating to that spot, and then you're gonna have less space to work with, and they're gonna be able to attack your shot a little more easily. Another thing that puts you kind of in a favorable position is topspin dink. So once you kind of master this basic dink, low to high motion, you can start working on developing your topspin dink. And again, it starts from the same position, paddle head down, and I'm just kind of lifting up on the ball like this. I'm not really brushing like tennis. Like in tennis where you kind of brush like that, not so much like that. When you're dinking in pickleball, you're kind of just going from low to high with your body, and that's what generates the topspin for you. I can go cross court like that too. Topspin dinks are pretty deadly because when they come over the net, they are dropping. And so if your opponents are reaching in and trying to attack out of the air, sometimes it's easy to misjudge because the ball's got the topspin on it, so it's dropping quickly to them. And sometimes that causes them to speed up balls below the net, which is not good because they're gonna speed up from low to high and your opponents are gonna counter high to low. And so the topspin dinks also allows you to move it around the kitchen line a little bit more quickly than as compared to if I'm just dinking flatly. If I dink flat right here, I can do this very consistently, but I can't get the ball to him very quickly as compared to if I dinked more like that, okay? And so it's not always an appropriate time to use a topspin dink. You generally want to save it for balls that are not moving too far to your left or too far to your right, or they're not too penetrating in the kitchen. And in those situations, you'd want to use more of like your flat, basic dink technique that we covered in the first video, just because you're going to be more consistent with that. If you try to topspin a dink that's moving to the left really quickly or moving to the right really quickly or is deep, you're going to have a hard time doing that. It's more so for balls that, like for example, this one that I'm about to dink to Scott. It's not moving too far to his left or right. It's pretty shallow in the kitchen. That's going to be a ball that's going to be easy to topspin dink.